Hi and welcome to this video where we will look at Check Point NAT configurations. Today I will walk you through a small lab scenario using this topology here. And let's focus only on these three pieces, or only on this one. This is a Windows machine here, this one, and this is our gateway. So in this lab we will demonstrate how to use NAT to enable seamless communication between different networks. So before jumping into the configuration, let's quickly cover some NAT basics. So NAT stands for Network Address Translation, and it's used for IP address conservation, which enables devices on a private network to share a single public IP address when accessing the internet, reducing the need for a large number of public IPs. The second thing is privacy and security. NAT hides internal network structure by translating private IP addresses to public ones, making it harder for external entities to directly access internal devices. And then enabling communication, and facilitates communication between private and public networks by translating private IP addresses into publicly routable addresses. It works by modifying the source port in outgoing packets to uniquely identify each connection. When responses arrive, the NAT device uses the port mapping to direct traffic back to the correct internal device. We have two kinds of NAT, hide NAT and a static NAT. So if we go to our smart console here, let's create any host, for example. So many objects like this one, like the host. Here we have a NAT option. If we enable it, here we have the hide NAT and static NAT. So the gateway in the hide NAT, the security gateway changes the source IP address of all connections from a source to the same IP address, either that of the security gateway's outgoing interface or an IP address you configure. So if we choose hide behind the gateway, this object IP address will be hidden behind the external interface of the gateway. But if we choose this hide behind IP address, we can choose any IP address, but that IP address should be at the same subnet as the external interface of the gateway. And the other type is the static NAT. The security gateway changes the source IP address of all connections from a source to the IP address you configure. So for static NAT, the management server automatically generates two rules. So let's create test one, for example, and let's make it hide it behind the gateway. Let's make the IP address 15, 15, 15, 15 and click OK here. And under the security policies, we have a security policy which calls NAT. And here we can see this is our machine, test machine, and we have got one automatic rule here. So for the hide NAT, a single rule is created to translate the source of the packets when applied on the host object, for example. But when applied to a network or an address range objects, the management server creates a separate rule to prevent the translation of intranet traffic. This ensures that the IP addresses of computers within the same object are not translated. So let's create a network here. Call it test 2, and let's like something like this. and NAT, and hide NAT. And now we can see directly that we have got two new rules here. So now let's discard these changes here, we don't need them. And by the way, hide NAT, when you use hide NAT, external entities cannot connect with this object with hide NAT. So if you, for example, if you have a server, a web server that you need external device to be able to connect to it, we need to use the static NAT. And static NAT is one-on-one. So you need a one public IP address to connect it to this device, to your server. So here, my Windows machine, this machine, is restarting. So what I wanted to show here, what is the difference between if NAT is activated or not. So this Windows machine here is connected directly through this switch to our gateway. So this machine will have its gateway in this interface here. And then the way out to the internet is here, and then out to the internet. So now let's take a look at the IP configurations on this machine. So we can see its IP address is 10.10.10.13 and the gateway is 10.10.10.10. This IP address is this interface. So now let's open a web browser here like Firefox and try to connect to any website. No. For example, let's take Wikipedia, something. Okay, we can see directly that we are having trouble finding this site. Okay, let's try to ping. Wait. Okay. What is that? Okay. Let's try to ping here again. So ping is not working either. So what I want to show here is this interface, what is happening here. So this is our Windows, it's going this way to the gateway and then tries to go out to the internet this way. So let's run Wireshark on this interface. So it can grab this here and try to get only that IP. So here we can see, so we can take this out. So on the external interface of the gateway, we can see that this internal device is trying to reach the internet, or this DNS IP address, using its own IP address. And this IP address is not routable on the internet. And this is a very good sign that tells us that we have a problem with NAT. Because here, only the external IP address should be visible, not internal IP addresses. So let's go to our smart console and enable NAT on this network. So we can do that by two ways. The first way, we can go to our gateway here, double click it, go to NAT, and then hide internal networks behind the gateway's external IP. So this is not recommended for a production environment, especially if it is a big network. The other way, so we can create a host. Let's call it Windows machine 10, 10, 10, 13 and NAT here, and hide NAT. Here we can hide this object behind the external IP address, the external interface, or we can find any IP address that we can use. So in this case, let's take a look again on this machine here to see what is the external IP address of it. Again, okay, so show interface cth0. Okay, we are using this IP. This is our external IP address. So here, because that one is, again, is 10.151, so we can, for example, take 160, because when it's still in the same subnet, it will work. So we can go back there and try 10.160, for example. Click OK here, and we install the policy. Let's try and go back there to see the difference. So when this is done installing, we will see that this IP should vanish, and that IP that we used, the 160 IP address, should show up here. So let's wait until this installation process is done. So I can remove this and use this one. Now we can see that our address that we are using is hitting everywhere, because now if we refresh this, now our browser should be able to connect to the internet. So let's stop this so that it not eat our memory. Let's try to open another example. We can try to, my CPU is going very high. So again, we should not see any internal IP address here. So let's run again that and try to see if our internal IP is there. So IP this one. So now we can see that this IP is not there, it's vanished, but at the same time we can see that the IP address that this one is hiding behind is this one, is everywhere. But my machine, oh, okay, now we can see that we have the ability to use the internet. So this video is done here. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video.